Alright, so I'll be going through this paper over here, so let's begin. After giving away 10 sweets and 10 chocolates, the number of sweets is 5 times the number of chocolates. How many chocolates did she buy? So we know that the number of sweets originally is 3 times the number of chocolates. So we shall represent it like this, 3x over x. After she gives away 10 sweets and 10 chocolates, which is minus 10 and minus 10 over here, the number of sweets is 5 times the number of chocolates. So this is equals to 5. So we simplify the equation like this by multiplying x minus 10 to the right side over here. Then we sub the 5 inside, 5x minus 50. We bring the 3x here, which is 2x, equals to, bring the 50 to the other side, 40, x equals to 20. So how many chocolates is basically solving for this x right here, and the answer is 20. Question number 7. Mr. Lim has big pieces of wood measuring 12.5 meters each. He cuts the wood into smaller pieces measuring 30 cm each. He needs 290 small pieces of wood to build a fence. What is the least number of big pieces of wood he needs to build the fence? So we know 12.5 meters is equivalent to 250 cm. Then it is said that he needs the smaller pieces to be 30 cm each. So each big piece is about 41 smaller pieces. Then he says he needs 290 small pieces to build the fence. So you get 290 divided by 41. You get about 7.0731. But you can't represent it as 7.0731 or 7 in this case. You have to represent it by 8 because that's what they're asking, the least amount of big pieces. So the answer is 8. So question number 8. Sandra has some lemon and peppermint sweets in a container. Tell you that 3 out of 5 of the sweets are peppermint. After she adds in another 30 peppermint sweets, 3 out of 4 of the sweets are then peppermint. How many sweets does she have in the container in the end? So before she adds the 30, it was something like this. So this part is actually your lemon and this part is your peppermint. After she adds it, it becomes something like this. So she adds 30 over here, correct? This part is 30. Then 3/4 of the sweets are peppermint. So this part over here remains your lemon. So for this to be 1/4, it means this part over here is 3/4. So if 1/4 is 2 units, 3/4 will be how many units? 2 times 3 will be 6 units. So you got 1, 2, 3 here, which means 30 is just 3 more dividers here. So you know 30 is 3 units. 1 unit will be 30 divided by 3 equals to 10. So each box here is actually 10. So how many sweets does she have in the end? It's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 units. Equals to 10 times 8, you get 80, which is your answer. So question number 9. So this is a graph that shows the number of pens being sold in each month. So January will be 0 pens, February will be 40 pens, and so on and so forth. Oops. So we know that each increment here is actually 20. So this will be 60, this will be 100. This will be 140, and this will be 180. So from January to February is basically 40 minus 0. So it's a plus 40 for this month. For February, from February to March, it's 100 minus your 40. So it's a plus 60 here. From March to April, it's a decline. So we don't have to bother calculating that. From April to May, it is a 140 minus your 60. so it's a plus 80. From May to June, it's 180 minus your 140, so it's a plus 40. So for June to July and July to August, they're both declines, so you don't have to calculate that as well. So the greatest increase in sale is actually this portion right here, from April to May. Then second part, they tell you to find the percentage decrease from June to July, which is this portion right here. So from June is 180, July is 120, so it's a decrease of 60. So to solve the percentage decrease, you take 60 divided by 180 times 100, get about a 33.33%, or 33 1/3, which is also your answer. Okay, so question number 10, they tell you that painter A takes 2 hours to paint a room, painter B takes 3 hours to paint the same room. So how long will it take if they work together to paint a room together? So for painter A, he takes 2 hours, 1 room. So in 1 hour time, he will be done with half the room. For painter B, he takes 3 hours for 1 room. So in 1 hour time, he will be done with 1/3 of the room. So in 1 hour, if they were to work together, it's basically half plus 1/3, which is 5/6 of the room. So you want to find how long they would take if they were to paint the room together. Simply divide this side by 5/6. So 1 room would be 6/5 hours, which is your answer. Question 11, they tell you that ABCD, which is this, is a rhombus. Then they tell you that DCGF, which is this part, is a trapezium. And this part, DEF, is isosceles triangle. And they want you to find X. So first thing, we can find CDF, which is this thing over here, because if you recall, this whole thing, because they are side to side in a trapezium, the two angles are actually 180 degrees. So CDF is actually 180 minus 180 equals to 62 degrees. So the same thing is can be applied here. So this whole thing, the two of them are actually 180 degrees. So CDA is also 180 minus 55 is 125 degrees. So lastly, you already have this part, you also have this part. So now you need this part over here. So if you take a look here, you know that it's a straight line, which means this entire angle is 180 degrees. So they tell you that this is 118. So this thing right over here is just 180 minus 118, which is 62 degrees. So this is 62 degrees. This is also 62 degrees because it's an isosceles triangle, which means this angle is equals to this angle. So in a triangle, you know that the total sum of all the angles are actually 180 degrees. So this part is basically 180 minus 62, which is 56 degrees. Then this whole thing, you know, it's 360 degrees. So 360 minus 62 minus 125 minus 56 will give you 117 degrees, which is X. So the answer is 117. Okay, so question number 12. You are told a bag of kiwis shared between 3 children. So the first guy, Xavier, received 40% of the kiwis plus 2 more. Yanni received 50% of the remainder plus 8 more. And Zara received 54 kiwis. So you have to find how many kiwis are there in the bag in the first place. So let's visualize this so it's easier to see. So they tell you that Xavier received 40% of the QEs plus 2 more. So he basically got about this part, which is 40%, and 2 more. So this entire portion is Xavier's. Next, they tell you Yanni received 50% of the remainder plus 8. So about this part and 8. This entire portion is Yanni's. Then they tell you that the remainder is all, this part is 54, and all of it is Zara's. So, first thing first, you know that Yanni, this portion right here, is actually 50%. So, what you can conclude is 8 plus 54 is actually 62, which is 50% of this whole thing here. So it's 50% of this whole thing here. So this entire portion would simply be 62 times 2, 124, which is here. This entire portion from here to here. 124 plus 2, because of this extra here, will be 126. And you know this part is 40%, which tells you this entire part will be 60%. So 126 over 60 times 100 will give you 210, which is your answer. Alright, so question number 13. It's a pattern question. So tables are chairs and chairs are arranged in the figures below. So figure 1, it starts off with 1 table and 4 chairs, increases to 4 table and 8 chairs. Then the third one is 9 table and 12 chairs. So if you can see the pattern here, this is actually 1 square. This is 2 square. This is 3 square. This is basically just multiples of 4. And this total is basically 1 plus 4 equals to 5. 4 plus 8 equals to 12. 9 plus 12 equals to 21. So for number 4, this will be just 4 square, which is equals to 16. This will just be 16, and the total will be 16 plus 16 equals to 32. So now they ask you what is the total number of tables and chairs needed to form figure 39. So table would simply be 39 square, which is 1521. Chairs will be 4 times 39, which is 156. And then your total is basically the sum of this, which is 1521 plus 156, 1677. So that is your answer. Alright, so question number 14. They want you to draw the top view, which is here, and the front view, which is here. So let's start with the top view. So top view is basically if you have your eye and you're looking down from above. So what you would see is something like this, which is this one over here. This another box here, which is this one over here. One box here, which is this. This one will be here. And the last one will be on top here. Then they also want you to draw the front view, which is your eye being here and you look from here. So this box will be here. This box will be here. This box over here will be here. This box will be here. And lastly, this box will be this box. So that will be your answer. So now they ask you from the diagram as shown above, how many more 1 cm cubes are needed to form a 5 cm cube? So they tell you that this whole diagram are all 1 cm cubes, which means this side is 1 cm, this side is 1 cm, this side is 1 cm. So a 5 cm times 5 cm cube basically means all the different sides are all 5 cms. So the total volume of a 5 cm cube will be 5 cube, or 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. Now you have how many cubes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 7 cubes. So 125 minus 7. You need 118 more cubes basically. So that is your answer. So 15. To tell you that a part of the wheel of a wheelbarrow is coated with paint. So the diagram here shows the marking by the wheel when it moves through a distance. Then you have to find the circumference of the wheel. So the wheel will be something like this. Then they tell you it's coated somewhere. So let's say it's coated here. So this portion right here is basically the point where the painted area contacts with the ground. So the circumference of this entire wheel will be basically this whole rotation up until this point. So it's this all the way to this. So the circumference is basically 20 plus 60 and it's equals to 80. So 15b, they tell you that PQRS, which is this whole square, is this whole thing is a square. T is the middle point. Then they tell you that TQ, which is this, is equals to TR, which is this. Then they want you to find the area of the shaded parts. And they tell you to take pi as 3.14. So first thing, we find the area of this big square over here, which is 40 times 40, which gives us 1600 cm squared. Now we find the area of this triangle here, which we can easily compute because we know this is 40 and the height is also 40. So you take 2 times half times 40 times 20. The 2 cancels out, so it's 800 cm squared. Now this is the tricky part, which is to find this part and also this part. So if you recall, this whole shape is actually a square. In the middle, you have a circle. So if we were to deduct the area of the circle from the area of the square, you will be left with these 4 parts right here, which is what you need. So we compute the area of the circle first, which is pi r squared. R is 20 because this whole thing is 40. Your radius is half of it, which is 20. That gives us 1256. So the area of the square we have already computed here. So we deduct it. It will give us 344. So 344 is actually the area here, 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 and here. So what we are interested in is these 2 parts over here. So we take 344 divided by 2. That's 172. So now we have found the area for these 2 shaded points, as well as the area of the triangle here. So we just take the area of the square, 1600 minus 172 minus your 800, you're left with 628, which is the area of your shaded portions. So that is your answer. So question 16, they tell you that a plate of chicken rice costs $4 while a plate of spaghetti costs $7. Ms. Tan orders plates of chicken rice and spaghetti in a ratio of 2 to 5 for pupils in the camp. She paid $258 in total. So how many plates of chicken rice did she order? So the ratio is actually $8 to $35 because times 2 here, $4 times 2, and 7 times 5. So you know that the total amount of units is actually 43 units, which have a total value of $258. So per unit is actually $6. So they ask how many plates of chicken rice did she order. So you know there's 8 units here, each unit is $6. So it's $48. Then each plate of chicken rice, you know, it costs $4. So it's 48 divided by 4, and it's 12 plates of chicken rice. how much more money did she spend on spaghetti than chicken rice? Same thing, you know per unit is 6. You got 35 here. 6 times 35, you get 210. 210, you get minus 48, which is how much you spent for the chicken rice. It's $162. Alright, so last question. So the figure is made out of rectangle and triangles. The area of the BFGI, which is this part, is 21 cm squared. Find the area of the shaded portion. Alright, so for this question, first thing we want to find is the area of the entire rectangle. So area of ACJD is 12 plus 6 times 7.2, which is 18 times 7.2, which gives us 129.6. Next, we want to find the area of this triangle over here, ABE. So we know the base is 12 and the height is 7.2. So the area of ABE is simply half times 12 times 7.2. You get 43.2. Next, we want to find the area of this triangle right here. So we know the base is 6, the height is 7.2. So the area of BCH is just half times 6 times 7.2, which gives us 21.6. So the area of the shaded portion is basically the area of the rectangle minus the first triangle that you computed and the second triangle that you computed. Oops. So that is equivalent to 129.6 minus 43.2 minus 21.6. However, you know that this part right here is overlapped by the two different triangles, and they told you that the area is actually 21 cm squared. So if you minus it twice, one times here and one times here, you need to add it back for a single time so that you don't double minus it. So the sum of this entire thing is 85.8, which is your answer for this question.